If you've ever been disillusioned, disappointed, or discouraged in your search for love, and you know there has to be a better way to find the healthy, soul-filling love you've always longed for, then you've discovered the podcast for you. I know, as Ken's work personally has led me to find the love of my life. So here's your host of Deeper Dating, Ken Page.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Deeper Dating Podcast. I am Ken Page. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm the author of the best-selling book, Deeper Dating, the creator of the Deeper Dating Intensive, and your host on this podcast. And today, I am going to present the entire four-stage Deeper Dating path to you in one episode, so you can see all the different pieces, how they fit together, and how they have the capacity to change your life in such profound ways in your search for love and your capacity for self-love and your capacity to develop deep intimacy skills, because the skills of dating are nothing more than the skills of intimacy. And those are the greatest skills of all for a happy and meaningful life. So, if you want to know more about this deeper dating path to self-love and romantic love, just go to deeperdatingpodcast.com, and there you'll find transcripts of every single episode. And if you join my mailing list, you will get a free ebook. You can also just go to deeperdatinggifts.com. And this ebook is the 5 keys to deeper intimacy, most of which have gone viral on Psychology Today and are filled with action steps and just clear guidance. So, heart and essence of the work, but that's what this episode is going to be too. Heart and essence of this work, of the entire path. So, I'm going to tell you the 4 stages of the deeper dating path. As I tell them to, I'm going to give you a story to match with each one, and I'm going to ask you to think about how this stage, each stage, applies to you and your journey. We just have filled and begun another intensive, and in these intensives, I spend time with each person who's considering joining, and we look at their core gifts, their patterns of attraction, how those can be shifted, and how they can create a different future for themselves. Those are all the steps that we are going to do together here in this episode. So let me begin to guide you through that. The first stage of this process is the discovery and the love relationship between you and your core gifts. This is at the heart and the foundation of everything. So, simple image, picture a target, and picture that the further away you get from the center, the further away you are from your humanity, from your soul. And so how is soul defined? Soul is defined, I think, in the Webster Dictionary as the animating force of your being, of your life. Those are the animating parts of you, the parts that make you the most you, and also the essence of the moral and emotional compass that you have in the world. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but not much. Soul is the core of the core of the core of your being. This is where your core gifts live. They're the things that, when they are met and seen and nourished and given the right environment, you feel peaceful, you feel joyful, you feel abundant, you feel generous. And when they are stepped on, when they are deprived of nourishment, you have a whole bunch of different kind of pain reactions. Maybe you internalize the pain. Maybe you express it outward in unhealthy ways. Maybe you do a combination of those two things. But whatever it is, we can recognize our core gifts by just going through our days and noticing the things that bother us the most and make us feel the best. So that seems on the face of it really simple. You know what bothers you. You know what makes you feel good. We all know that. But there's really so much more depth here. And in fact, in the intensive, we spend 3 of the 6 months helping people to see their core gift. And in my book, we spend the first 3 chapters helping you. And the same in my online course. We spend a lot of time on this because our gifts are often counterintuitive. And also, as human beings, we spend a huge amount of time arguing against the validity of our gifts, arguing against the correctness of our gifts, arguing for our gifts to all the people that have not seen them, trying to prove and justify their worth in our own head and to the world. And all of those things are different than honoring our core gifts. And in fact, our core gifts are found in the places of our deepest insecurity. That's what my next episode is going to be on. It's going to help you be able to use your core gifts to heal your places of anxious, avoidant, and insecure attachment. We'll get to that in the next episode. The first part, though, is understanding these 4 pieces. So, you're in a relationship, and you share something personal and vulnerable with your partner, and they miss it. They don't get it. Somehow they just, you end up feeling not nourished, not seen. They give you some response that just isn't gratifying. So your first response might be to tell yourself, well, this shouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother someone else. This should kind of roll off my back. I should be more trusting. Maybe your first response will be to get angry and kind of like lash out in a passive aggressive way, or even an aggressive way. Maybe you feel ashamed that it bothers you, so you just kind of separate and distance yourself. Any of those kind of responses are really possible. And around those kind of qualities where we have that deep sensitivity, for you in that situation, if that's something that you relate to that happens for you, what that probably means is that you have a core gift of deep sensitivity to communication. You really track it when someone misses what you say. It hurts you. And maybe it hurts you in a way that other people don't even notice. And then my guess would also be that in your relationships with people, they tell you, you are really good at listening to me and hearing me. You have a real gift with that. Or maybe they don't tell you that, but it's true. That's because this is a core gift quality of yours. It's a profound sensitivity to the quality of communication. As human beings, we spend so much time creating a kind of rainstorm of not honoring our core gifts. We tell ourselves we're being too sensitive. We tell ourselves we're wrong. We tell ourselves we should be more understanding. And being understanding is a wonderful thing, but the first step must be the honoring of what you're feeling and experiencing. We tell ourselves maybe if we're feeling a kind of joy that's really intense and the people around us are not feeling it. We feel ashamed. We kind of keep it to ourselves. Our positive feelings, or let's say there are things that give you joy and peace and you appreciate them, but you don't really recognize them fully, and you don't carve out a life where you get those things enough. I'll give you an example from my own life. I have a core gift quality of deep, slow pacing. There's a quality where I can go so deep and so slow with my pacing. And in my life, I have been shamed for that, and I've shamed myself for that. So I've developed these habits of kind of speeding through things instead of going at this pace of my being, which is kind of different than the pace of a lot of people. It's a lot slower. That dishonoring leads to all of these different cascades of not being right or good with myself, not being right or good in my relationships. My journey there, in this very sticky one for me, is honoring the fact that I go slowly, and when I do, I go deep. And that's something that I need to allow myself more of. But here's the deal. Our core gifts, the qualities in you, and I want you to just think about this for a moment. What are the ways that you have felt too different than other people in the world? Your journey is to then discover what the core gift is there, that is your kind of unique genius, because your genius is not going to look like other people. That's the definition of genius, is its difference. And genius domesticated is genius lost. So you really do need to honor those ways in which you're different. If you're an artist in any way, you know that following those differentness strands of you are where your greatness lies. Another example of core gifts is a deep sensitivity. A sensitivity that makes you feel like, oh God, I'm just like too sensitive, or people might have told you you're too sensitive. Another would be an intensity of presence, of fierceness, and ambition. Generosity is another one. And if we don't honor these core gifts, if we don't understand that they are not just strengths, not just nice qualities, but portals to the depth of our being and our truest self. If we don't honor them in that way, we will discount them. If we discount them, we will be attracted to people who also discount them. The more you honor your core gifts, the more you're going to be sexually and romantically attracted to people who honor them. So that's the first part of the journey. And the simplest way, my book, my online course, the intensive, all of those are places where you can learn this in a very deep way. But you can also just start asking yourself, what are the things that create micro hurts for you in your day-to-day life? What are the things that give you small joys in your day-to-day life? How could those be portals to your soul, to your deepest core gifts? How can you honor those more? And I can pretty much promise you something. If you start noticing the things that hurt your heart and the things that fill your heart and give them more dignity and more honoring between you and you in the way you structure your life and in your relationships, if you do that, so much will change. And one of the biggest things that will change is that you will have a felt sense of your unique magic and your unique contribution. When you're in your core gifts with honoring, on some level, your insecurities they lose power, they lose importance, the trauma quality around them dissipates and diminishes. In some way, it's a choice of either living in the beauty of your core gifts, the worth of your core gifts, or living in your insecurity and your defenses. So that's why this is the key. And that's why the foundation of this journey is to understand your core gifts and learn to honor them. And as you do, your world will change because you will now become organized around your soul. The people you attract will change, and the people you're attracted to will change. That is how this is a spiritual journey. That's stage one. When you're done with stage one, I mean, not fully done, it's a lifetime project, but when you've essentially moved through that stage, you will find yourself allergic to people who can't honor you for who you are. And you will find yourself more and more drawn and sexually and romantically attracted to people who can honor you for those qualities. It's an amazing thing, and it's true, but it makes perfect sense. This is the deeper physics of dating and attraction. The more you are aligned with your core gifts, the more you'll be disinterested in people who disrespect them, and passionate and attracted and attractive to people who do honor them. That's the inside that changes the outside of your dating journey. The second stage is the stage of pattern recognition. And in all of my work, in any of the different ways that we do it, we do a breakdown. And you can think about this now. Who are the people, which are the relationships that didn't work? Then you think about those people and you think about the qualities that you didn't feel great about them having or not having. Yes, it's important to look at yourself, but for this process, we externalize responsibility. What are the qualities of the people where it didn't work that you didn't like, that you didn't feel great about, that you didn't feel were right for you? When you look at that, you'll see that there were certain things, certain qualities that come up again and again. And then when you look back and think of the things that inspired you and made you feel safe and good in your past relationships, certain patterns will emerge as well. This is another window to discover your core gifts. And here's the power of doing this stage 2 work, of like becoming a student of your attraction patterns. Everyone focuses on making themselves more attractive, but they don't focus on their attraction patterns. And so they lose a tremendous, tremendous opportunity for changing their romantic future. When you recognize these patterns, a few things will happen. You will have gold because you will know what to stay away from. You will have gold because you will know what to gravitate toward. And in a way, you will have the greatest gold because if there are negative patterns that you've seen and been drawn to, consciously or unconsciously, again and again, those patterns speak to core gifts you have not yet learned to fully honor and dignify. And you want to know what those are so that you could reclaim them, honor them, and dignify them. And so that's the second stage. By the time you have completed the first and the second stage, your field will have shifted. You will be attracted to and attractive to different people because you are beginning to change, which is a very hopeful and beautiful thing. And then we get to step 3. And step 3 is the getting out there. And you need step 1 and step 2, that self-honoring, so that you don't repeat the old patterns. But getting out there isn't so easy. Absolutely, we need support to do that so that we don't fall into the old traps. Online dating is built to sculpt you into bad behaviors. Endless scrolling, not revealing yourself, poor behavior that you get used to, and it just kind of jades you and colors you and discourages you. I'm not saying you're poor behavior, but poor behavior on the part of like the larger online community. There's so much dishonesty. There's so much manipulation. There are so few people who really are gold and right for you, and that's just reality. So we need help to help us discriminate. We need help when we get discouraged, and we need help to do the brave things to go out and meet people. We need help in seeing where we're enacting old patterns and not doing that. That's why everything I teach has you have a learning partner. I believe in that so deeply. You can do it on your own. Some people do, some people can, most can't. So get help on that third stage. And how do you meet people? Where do you go? Well, I'm going to say a few things. I'm going to say, don't get too caught up in swipe apps if you find them sculpting your behavior to like swipe, 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 swipe really quickly. Watch out for the ways your behavior gets sculpted. You want to slow that down. Better yet, also be in niche online sites with people who share your values and interests. Also, go to those big old-fashioned kind of sites where people leave richer profiles, because that really, really does help. Next, create a hybrid approach. Online dating if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. Online communities, not online dating sites, but online communities with people who share your values and interests. And third, in-person events, biggest bang for your buck. It's a pain in the neck, but oh my God, is that true? It is the biggest bang for your buck. That's how I met my husband. I believe in that so deeply. And then what do you do when you get there? You need to notice your old patterns, and you need to craft new patterns of sharing who you are, of learning to discriminate, of being brave, of talking to people. That's another thing. It's best to do that with someone else. This is a hard stage. It's a sticky stage, but it's like, if you want to bake bread, you need yeast. Bravery is that yeast. It is needed, but with discrimination and wisdom, because it's just so easy to just deflate yourself in the world of dating. There's so much unkindness there. So it just needs to be done with care, with self-honoring, and with a noticing, so that you become a student of what are your patterns. What do you want to change? How do you want to grow? Those are all really essential pieces. The fourth stage is what happens when you meet someone with goodness, with availability, with decency, who is interested in you. If you're not so used to that, you're going to have to do some sexual rewiring, some romantic rewiring. If you're prone to what they call the ick, but I call the wave, and there's research that backs this up. If you historically have been interested in unavailable people, when you meet someone who's really good, decent, available, and into you, you'll want to run away, at least temporarily. That passes. It's what I call the wave of distancing. And in my work, I teach you how to move past that. But short form answer is, don't flee and don't push yourself to do anything you're not ready to do. Slow down, recognize that your psyche is having a spasm of fear manifesting as a kind of repulsion or disinterest in that person, and it will pass. That's why I call it a wave. Like a wave hits you, knocks you over, and then it passes. And your attraction and your interest in most cases will come back again. The other piece here is to tap into your intuition. And that's a separate piece. We're not going to talk about that now, but there's so much that I teach you. Whatever ways that you can connect to this deeper intuition, that inner guidance is so, so important. And I teach practices to do that. Episode 3 teaches you the most powerful practice that I know to do that. It's called the Inner Mentor Process. And you can listen to it, and it is what led me to my husband. It is what changed my life, and it's what has changed so many people's lives. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous process, and it's research-backed. Not my exact process, but the essential process, which is to envision someone wiser than you. Step into that person and then call out guidance to yourself. But you'll get it in detail in episode 3. So those are the 4 stages, and you can see they're deep, they're rich, they are best done with help and support, which is why I've created a body of work to help you do that. But you could just take the book and work with a learning partner, or many people create book clubs and they go through each of the stages of the course, because the book is a course in a book. So these are different ways to do that. But bottom line is, if you're serious in your search for love, find a path that has wisdom and then get support. That's how we change our old behaviors, and that's how we create new patterns. So I hope this gives you a picture of the 4 stages of deeper dating: discovering your core gifts, understanding and changing your attraction patterns, getting out there in a new way, and the rewiring that happens in a healthy relationship. So please let me know how you are living, working with, or experiencing these steps. And thank you for being part of my community, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Deeper Dating Podcast.
And that's it for today's episode of Deeper Dating. Be sure to go to deeperdatingpodcast.com, as Ken has a few more gifts for you. Then join us on the next episode.